If the Jedi path is a metaphor of spiritual training, what could we learn from lightsabers? Recall, if you will, the duel from Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, when Obi-Wan Kenobi says to Darth Vader, "If you strike me down, I will become more powerful than you can ever imagine." When I first saw that on the big screen at age 12, it blew my little mind. What if not only was Jedi training a metaphor for the spiritual path, but what if specifically lightsaber training was a metaphor of nonviolence? In a previous century, the Tibetan teacher Karma Chakme Rinpoche was trying to move from the path of yang to the path of yin, from the path of being rigid, fearful, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel, instead to the path of being flexible, loving, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. And so part of that path of moving from elitism to egalitarianism was simplifying things. 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path pertains to loving kindness. And so Karma Chakme taught that the essence of morality is simply nonviolence. But words can hurt. What are we to do with the slings and arrows of cruel jibes? That is exactly why we traverse the path of mindfulness and meditation, so we can experience the present moment more fully, warts and all, but also so that we can process it. Every time we exhale, we automatically access our our parasympathetic nervous system, which has evolved for both physical relaxation as well as mental release. A healthy practice, a consistent practice of mindfulness and meditation not only can help us to let go of real or imagined, present or past injuries, but make it safe for us to choose vulnerability. I look forward to chanting and meditating with you after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso, the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I spent more than 8 hours a day, every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each sect of Buddhism and Taoism so that you would not have to. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. This morning, I thought it would be fun if we played with the concise sadhana of Green Tara, composed by Atisha Shrijana di Pankata in the 11th century, translated into English by Lama Kunga Tarse Rinpoche, adapted and amplified by yours truly. There are 4 categories of techniques we're going to play with. The first one is energy work, which is known by many names, including completion stage tantra. So the goal, even though the name of this is calling the Lama from afar, or Lama Kieno, the goal is to play with our energy. So we could think of these words as being figurative. Please place your hands in the puckered palm position overhead and chant with me. Lama Drojang, please come to this crown and lavish me with all the attainments, both conventional and ultimate. As children, our first bicycle most likely came with training wheels, and although they were clunky, they really did get the job done. Similarly, this morning we're going to play with our first exercise of mindfulness and meditation, which is known by many names, including Great Completion Stage, is going to work with a clunky exercise. During each inhale, we can sit up as straight as we can, generating a vertical traction between our head and our tush. You might consider it pulling your head out of your tush. And you can do this during your inhalation while silently and mentally reciting, perceiving this very turbulent play of mind. During our exhalation, we can physically relax as best we can, while silently and mentally reciting an additional 12-syllable phrase, relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature. If this is difficult to read, let me know and I'll adjust the font. We're going to perform a recitation which would fit under the category of sutra. This recitation is going to help remind us of the second, first, and sixth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path pertaining to wishing love, the wisdom of letting go, and joyful enthusiasm. We're going to play with two recitations. These recitations are not prayers to real or imagined entities. We are simply using words to guide and strengthen our intention. The first bit is going to be rather literal, and we're going to set it to a triplet chant. Please chant with me. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging, by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. Consider, if you will, these three highlighted nouns. Gotta use the word three correctly, I suppose. They are so useful that over the centuries they've earned the metaphoric nickname of the three wish-fulfilling jewels not unlike Aladdin's lamp. So we're going to take the same ideas we just played with and use wording that is both concise and figurative. We're going to now chant them using a bookend chant. Together. May I liberate all beings by relying on the three jewels. May I liberate all beings by relying on the three jewels. May I liberate all beings by relying on the three jewels. Now let us chant the four immeasurables pertaining to compassion, love, sympathetic joy, and balance. May everyone be free from suffering. May everyone be happy. May no one be separated from the happiness. May everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging, freed. We come now let us remove the first of two metaphoric training wheels, reducing our contemplative exercise from 12 syllables per breath down to just 3. During our inhalation, let's silently and mentally recite, notice this, and during our exhalation, let's silently and mentally recite, relaxing. We continue with the sutric portion of our recitation, where we demystify the use of the word emptiness. Let's chant. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we notice during our previous inhalation could feel as not graspable as a vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although compelling to the eye, is not graspable to the hand. The cryptic Sanskrit version of this would be Om Soba Vashuddha Sarva Dharma Soba Vashuddhoham. A literal translation could be Om all phenomena, including myself, are purified of conventional existence. Everything becomes as not graspable as emptiness. Now this was more befuddling than helpful until I learned the yoga of inconceivability, which we're going to practice right now. It's going to consist of 8 rhetorical questions, 4 verbal and 4 silent. We'll begin by bringing the circumstance into the path of impermanence and interdependence. As we breathe, as we chant, we can recite this rhetorical question. What could it look like if all circumstances all lost blissfully and impermanently melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into this body or form? Now we're going to perform a silent version. During the in-breath, we're going to silently and mentally recite into form. And during the exhalation, we're going to silently and mentally recite how lots melt. Remember, lot is a synonym for circumstance, and these are rhetorical questions. So now we're going to continue, but we're going to shift gears from the circumstantial to the physical. What could it feel like if all forms or bodies blissfully and impermanently melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into this communication or speech? Let's switch gears to the interpersonal. What could it sound like if all interpersonal speech blissfully and impermanently melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into this mind? So even though the interpersonal is expressed through communication, and communication can be both verbal and nonverbal, metaphorically we refer to it as speech, chiefly because it's a great monosyllabic word. We all have the instinct to be self-centered, as if the world revolved around us. The great joke is that this series of contemplations uses that inherent selfishness and turns it into an armature upon which the sculptor's clay of wisdom is applied. Now let us bring the mental into the path of impermanence and interdependence. What could it be like if all minds blissfully and impermanently melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into a vast empty void? So we come now to this morning's first mantra meditation. During our inhalation, we can silently and mentally recite another rhetorical question. During our exhalation, we can physically relax as best we can as we chant this 10-syllable mantra. Om da de du da de du re so ha. Om da de du da de du re so ha. Om da de du da de du re so ha. Om da de du da de du re so ha. Om da de du da de du re so ha. Om da de du da de du re so ha. Om da de du da de du re so ha. Om da de du da de du re so ha. Om da de du da de du re so wa. Om da de du da de du re so wa. Om da de du da de du re so wa. Om da de du da de du re so wa. Om da de du da de du re so wa. Om da de du da de du re so wa. Om da de du da de du re so wa. Om da de du da de du re so wa. Now let us remove the second of two metaphoric training wheels, reducing our contemplative exercise from 3 syllables per breath down to just 1. You know, I think I made a boo-boo with the colors that I'll try to fix. So as we inhale, we could silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, and as we exhale, we can silently and mentally recite the monosyllabic verb ease, which functions as a synonym of relax. We return to the Bindu Mahamudра's energy. We'll return to energy work, this time using the synonym Bindu Mahamudra. And this energy work takes on the phrase of a centering contemplation. Together. From the emptiness of his unsettled palm transforms into a lotus seat. On top of this appears a syllable law which transforms into a moonseed the size of a thumbnail, on which this mind appears in the form of the green letter T the size of a mustard seed. We're going to contemplate the iconography of an archetype of enlightened activity. We do this non-superstitiously because the iconography helps to strengthen the 8 metaphors upon which the remainder of our mantra meditation is predicated together. So anytime you see something that is standard size, and that's the original translation. When you see something that is original size but italicized, that's when I'm using a paraphrase to make greater sense to us Americans. When you see something in brackets that not only is italicized but is in a smaller font, that's called an amplification of the text. Once again, because I want to reduce the confusion as much as possible. Together. Now in the aspect of green suitable to my that make offerings to all the Buddhas, thus empowering the possibility of benefiting all sentient beings. So once again, our mind is in the aspect of a green syllable, Tom. Is it our job to visualize it with perfect concentration? No. It is simply enough to merely play with the words and let the subconscious do the heavy lifting for us. May the rays then reabsorb into this mind and thus become like the archetype Tata of the rosewood forest. So, over the remainder of this morning's practice, we're going to review 3 categories in which we are like this archetype. And don't worry, I'll bring it to your attention each time we do. Her body is composed of green light. She has 2 hands and 1 face. One moment. Let's do a quick change here. Her right hand resting on her right knee is in the giving mudra. Her left hand is at her heart with the ring finger and thumb pressed together, holding the stem of the blue pala flower which blossoms at her left ear. She is peaceful, smiling, and fully matured. She is adorned with all the precious garments and ornaments. Her left foot is acted and her right foot is slightly extended. Tata's back rests against a full moon throne. On her forehead is the syllable Om. So I like to call this the Buddhist hand jive. So we return to energy work, which is known by many names, including tikle, or drop. During our inhalation, we recite the rhetorical question. During exhalation, we're going to intone. And now we are going to rest in mindfulness and meditation. So one of the ways that we are like the archetype of Tata is that as we breathe in, we can notice physical sensations that some might call bliss. And as we exhale, we can physically relax and mentally release. That doesn't mean we hate them. That's just the way we are wired, thanks to our autonomic nervous system. On Tata's road is the syllable. And now, together as a team, let us meditate as transformatively as Luke on Dagobah under the guidance of Yoda. And on Dada Sternum is a Sodom. We're now going to throw the metaphoric brick through the metaphoric plate glass window of the dualistic elitism that says there is us and there are them, by exploring the idea of all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas in their paradise of light, living in each pore of our skin. This is not something to be believed in. It's just an idea to help us transcend duality. Let's chant. From the sternum whom may light raise emit and invoke all the Buddhas of the 10 directions, each in the form of green Tara. And now some more hand jive. Om Benzar Sammaya Zahum Bam Ho. May all these yadams absorb into one's pores. So what we've done is we've gone from central channel energy work to bringing things out to our skin, which can prevent uncomfortable energy congestion. One of the many nicknames for awareness and letting go is Sutra Mahamudra. We're going to continue with our anti-elitist work by transcending the superstitious need to receive tantric empowerment for a man or woman of flesh, blood, or bone. Again, from the seats of the belong sternum may let regime it and invoke the 5 initiating jhana Buddhas. We now recite Om Vajra Samaya and make the request Please, all Buddhists, bestow on me all empowerments. Then the Tathagata Sayam Sarva Tathagata Abhishika Samaya Sriyahum. Having spoken thusly, they pour water from a vessel on top of our heads. The water goes throughout our bodies, purifying our physical and karmic defilements. It fills up our bodies to the top of our heads. We continue with the completion stage, this time Pawa's transference of consciousness. Together. Hands together in the puckered palm position overhead. Then, in preparation for the inevitability of death on top of our heads, appears the Nimenakaya form of Amitabha. Amitabha. Everybody dies, but not everybody dies peacefully. We're going to play with 6 offerings. We're doing this to help us to metaphorically train in the idea of awareness and letting go. I offer the experience of wisdom's eyes appearing yet as not graspable as a void. Om Shamatara Adashe Bhartitsa Hum Soha. I offer the experience of wisdom sense fragrant yet as non-graspable as a void. Om Shamatara Gande Bhartitsa Hum Soha. So what makes a scent, a wisdom scent, is that we not only perceive it, but we release it as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void. I offer the experience of wisdom sounds resounding yet as non-graspable as a void. Om Shamatara Vini Bhartitsa Hum Soha. I offer the experience of wisdom tastes flavorful yet as non-graspable as a void. Om Shamatara Rase Bhartitsa Hum Soha. I offer the experience of wisdom feeling sensual yet as non-graspable as a void. Om Shamatara Pashe Bhartitsa Hum Soha. I offer the experience of wisdom thus lucid yet as non-graspable as a void. Om Shamatara Dharme Bhartitsa Hum Soha. So this reminds us that the ultimate offering is simply the application of the Buddha's teachings of the Eightfold Path. Remember, if at any point during the remainder of this live stream you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Now that we are very comfortable with these metaphors we've been playing with, now we're going to apply them to mantra recitation. At one side on the moon's eve there is a green syllable tom, surrounded by the 10 syllables from tade to so on. O Mama Shatara, the swift and courageous, who drive away all his with Tutare, heroine fulfilling all the ends with Ture with the syllable Soha. We offer homage. Aha. Now, what was clever, I would do a quick edit here. From these syllables may rays of light emit and make offerings to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, empowering our ability to benefit all sentient beings. May all the powers, blessings, and love of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas manifest in the forms of rays of light, which absorb into the mantra rosary, encircling the hot seed syllable, re-emitting out our pores to benefit all beings. We now recite the mantra 128 times or as much as possible. So we explored how one of the ways we are like the archetype of Tata is that we can experience sensations and also release them. A second way we are like Tata is that we are able to wish others well and then let go, helping us to love in a manner that is not neurotic. The Buddha was fond of describing all things, beings, and phenomena in terms of 4 categories: the circumstantial, the physical, the interpersonal, and the mental. We're going to use that same format to train in love and letting go. And if all we do, if we're, let's pretend for a second that we're not great wizards and we can't do magic. If all we do is strengthen our loving intention, then that in and of itself is a victory in a world plagued by greed and hate and fear and fascism and jingoism and genocide and classism and sexism and racism. Wishing others well is deliciously subversive. So we're going to begin with the mental. And this is known, we're going to bring the experience of the mental into the path of the generation or creation stage. May all minds of all beings now be as peaceful and wise as the mind of a Buddha of law symbolized by a one-syllable Sitikle or Bija mantra. So you see we're using figures of speech. Here we're using similes, later we're going to use metaphors. Why bother? because all vertebrate life forms on this planet have evolved to think symbolically. Again, as we breathe in, we're going to silently and mentally recite a very concise version of our loving wish. And as we exhale, we're going to physically relax and mentally release as best as we can while chanting the 10-syllable mantra. Om tare du da du re so wa 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 Om tare du dare 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 du re so wa. Now we come to Sutra Mahamudra, where we rest in mindfulness and meditation. If you've just joined, welcome aboard. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in the chat window. I have to interface with a delivery man, so I'm going to duck out for a few minutes. But in my absence, please continue with this ease. And I'm back. Thank you for your patience. We're now going to bring the experience into the personal, into the path of Tantra Mahamudra. I need to do something real quick. That was before we talked about that general generation, so we'll call this over here. Together, may all beings into a personal experience of communication or speech. Now be as joyful and loving as a real or imagined Buddhist communication symbolized by this ten-syllable mantra. Om Dare Nu Nare Nure Suwa, Om Dare Nu Nare Nure Suwa, Om Dare Nu Nare Nure Suwa, Om Dare Nu Nare Nure Suwa. Om Dare Nu Nare Nure Suwa, Om Dare Nu Nare Nure Suwa, Om Dare Nu Nare Nure Suwa, Om Dare Nu Nare Nure Suwa. Om Dare Nu Nare Nure Suwa, Om Dare Nu Nare Nure Suwa, Om Dare Nu Nare Nure Suwa, Om Dare Nu Nare Nure Suwa. Om Dare Nu Nare Nure Suwa, Om Dare Nu Nare Nure Suwa, Om Dare Nu Nare Nure Suwa, Om Dare Nu Nare Nure Suwa. So this mindfulness and meditation is also known as Sutra Mahamudra. Let's bring our experience of the physical into the path of Mahayoga's love. May all bodies or forms of all beings now enjoy the beautiful health depicted in Buddhist thought of the blissful body of a Yidam of lore and archetype of enlightenment. Om Tare Du Dare Du Re Suwa, Om Tare Du Dare Du Re Suwa, Om Tare Du Dare Du Re Suwa, Om Tare Du Dare Du Re Suwa. Om Tare Du Dare Du Re Suwa, Om Tare Du Dare Du Re Suwa, Om Tare Du Dare Du Re Suwa, Om Tare Du Dare Du Re Suwa. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Sowa. 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 Bringing our experience of the circumstantial into the path of Tokal's leap over competition. Leaping over competition and landing in cooperation. May all circumstances or lots of all beings now have the safety, good fortune, and boon. As a Buddha's real or imagined paradise per land of Auntie. Om Tare Du Tare Du Re Sowa. 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 One of the additional nicknames for mindfulness meditation is Trek Cho's slice through the duality of dread and desire. So, thus far, we've explored two ways that we are like the archetype of Tara. We can experience bliss, but also let go of it. We can experience love, but also let go of it. And the third way is that we can experience awareness and also let go of it. So, now we're going to explore, we're going to bring mantra meditation into the path of awareness and letting go. Beginning with bringing the circumstantial into the path of generation or of the generation or creation stage. How is it that as we inhale all circumstances, our lots could appear quite vivid? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined paradise or vati of light. And so before we were using the circumstance, the body, the communication, and the mind of a Buddha as metaphors of good fortune, and now we're using them as metaphors of non-graspability. Om tare du nare du re so wa. 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 Now let's bring the physical into the path of Tantra Mahamudra. How is it that as we inhale all bodies or forms could feel quite sensual? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined archetypal yidam of light. Om tare dare dure sowa. 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 Bring the interpersonal into the path of Maha Yoga. How is it that as we inhale, the interpersonal experience of communication or speech could be quite resounding? Yet as we relax into our exhalation, it could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined mantra of light. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Sorry about that, kids. I pushed the wrong button when I was typing a few minutes ago. Live long and prosper. So, we're going to bring the mental, for our final chapter of Mantra Meditation this morning, we're going to bring the experience of the mental into the path of Tokal's leap over clinging. How is it that as we inhale we could perceive all minds functions quite clearly, yet as we relax into our exhalation they could feel as not graspable as a real or imagined suitable tom of light? Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. So when we're saying minds are clear, yet what we mean is we can clearly perceive minds, perceptions, intentions, emotions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. Om da de do da de do de so wa. So we conclude our final meditation this morning by slicing through the duality of dread and desire. We're now going to conclude with a bit of the old wishing love. May the common and supreme attainments of magical powers and full enlightenment be lavished upon all sentient beings and myself. Through all recitation and meditation, may all sickness, poverty, and warfare be completely pacified, and may all dharma and good omens be all pervasive. So this bit right here is entirely my own composition. It may be wonderful, it may be crappy. If it's sucky, please do not blame anybody else but me. May every meditation understand the Buddha's teachings and practice master as well as teach him generously, lovingly, and wisely in the manner of centered spontaneity. May all meditation teachers spontaneously receive generous patrons, enthusiastic students, as well as devoted apprentices. And may many Dharma centers likewise be successfully planted, nurtured, and supported. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 9 3/4 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.